Hello, welcome to Whiskey Cigar Grill and Vet. I know a lot of people think a lot of different things about cigars, and everybody has their own opinion about cigars. One opinion that a lot of people have different about cigars is, how do you cut them? Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, because cutting a cigar is as individual based as the type of cigar you like, the strength of the cigar you like, and where you like to buy them. So hang on, and we're going to talk about cutting the cigars. All right, we have a couple of good cigars here. The Psycho, I haven't covered it yet. And we also have the Midnight Oil, the Asylum 13 Midnight Oil, which we have covered. But I have a couple of different cutting methods here to show you. And I'm going to go over each one, and maybe it's a cutting method you use, maybe it isn't, and if you got something different than what I'm talking about, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you do. So here we go. We're going to talk about cutting the cigars. Alright, I have three cutters here that I use. We have a punch, and there's nothing very special about the punch. It's just a little punch that we use to put in the tip. I have a V-cut guillotine style cutter that we use, and I have the regular clip off the tip guillotine. So whichever one you pick, whichever one you choose is going to be your choice, and we'll start off with the punch. Now, like I said, everybody has their own way of doing it. Some people like the punch, some people like the V-cut, and some people like the guillotine, just a regular guillotine. And there are those Clint Eastwood types out there that just say, oh, what the heck, and they bite the end off of it. Well, tried that. I'll usually wind up spitting out quite a bit of little tobacco pieces throughout my smoke, which I don't enjoy very much. But we're going to go ahead and go with a punch. The best thing about a punch is it's nice and easy. You take it, you put it right in the tip, push in, pull out, and it creates a nice little hole. Now, if you can't get it, try it, give it a try. See if you get a good draw off of it. If you don't get a good draw off of it, you might need to punch another little hole into a side. And then you could probably get a good draw off of it. That's a punch. Nice, simple, easy. Clean it out. Now you're ready to light it up and start smoking it. The next one that people use is a regular guillotine style. And I've heard people say, well, how much of the cigar do I cut off? How much do we do it? Well, if you look on your cigar, right around the edge of it, the cap, you'll see a little cap. You see where it's right around there. Well, you don't want to cut down below the cap, because if you cut down below the cap, then your wrapper is going to start coming undone. And a lot of people get afraid, especially if you're first starting out, get a little scared about cutting off that cap. Well, if you're concerned with it, the easy way to do it is drop your guillotine down on a table. Take your cigar, place it to the top, close your guillotine up. As you see, I didn't touch the cap, and I got a nice little cut on my cigar there. Now, if that doesn't give you enough draw, you can do it one more time. And when you do that one more time, I guarantee you're going to get it. Guillotine is always a good one to have, nice and handy. Then I have my favorite. My favorite is the V-cut, but I don't just do a V-cut. The V-cut, same premise as the guillotine, but you take the cigar and you stick it right down inside, come across, gives you a nice little V-cut in there. You could probably, you see it, nice little V-cut. Now you can get a good draw on a V-cut, but I like taking it one step further. I go with a crown, which means I turn the cigar, and I cut it with a V-cut one more time, and I got me a nice little star crown across the top. To me, that gives me a nice even draw. It helps me keep it burning properly throughout the cigar without it canoeing. And no matter which way I turn it in the wind, it usually comes across really good. So find your method, whether it's going to be the V-cut or the guillotine. or a punch. But whichever method you pick, I'm sure you're going to enjoy your cigar. But hey, got a little interesting cigar fact for you here. Did you know that smoking in the White House is forbidden? That's right, you can't smoke in the White House. However, there was an exception made. In 1995, when Scott O'Grady was shot down over Bosnia, the president lit up a celebratory cigar in honor of Scott Grady being rescued. You know which president that was? Bill Clinton. Now I wonder if that cigar was a Gordo or a double Gordo, or it was flavored. Well, my mind will wonder about that. Y'all take care and be a badass.